Quiescent Traveler. We bought this Montero Sport in the year 2000. Somewhere here I have the contract. It was May 20th, 2000. And we went through the delivery and checkout. I think we paid cash for it. And at the time, the MSRP on that car was $28,362. And the dealer had put additional dealer markup of $19.99. I believe we got it for $27,000 out the door, which maybe in hindsight we could have done better, but we were pretty young at the time. The color is New Zealand green pearl, and it's a 3.0 liter single overhead cam 24 valve V6 with MPI fuel injection. Has a tan interior, and it gets 17 in the city and 20 on the highway. It was built in Japan. Nagoya, Japan was the final assembly point, which I think is probably why it's been so reliable. It's been fantastic. So it's over 20 years old at this point, and it's still running great. So I'm making this video because I was thinking, watching all these overland videos, I was thinking it would be great to have an overland vehicle. And I was watching all of these people that are rebuilding Land Cruisers and 4Runners and that sort of thing. And sitting out on my driveway was a very capable car that I bought brand new, from the original owner. And looking at the odometer today, it only has 154,000 miles on it. And I'm just kind of looking through all of the repair history here that I've maintained, and I would like to just take this car that's running great and make a few changes to turn it into an overland vehicle. Right now it's fully stock, and probably the worst thing that's going on with it right now is the horizontal surfaces are losing the paint is coming off. We've lost the clear coat, and it's becoming some spots of rust are starting to form. So probably the most immediate thing we're going to do is take it down and get the paint, part of it painted, if not, or perhaps the whole thing. See, it has skid plates underneath for the four-wheeling and off-roading, so it's very capable. This is also sold around the world. I believe it's referred to as the Pajero or Pajero, something like that, or Montero Sport, probably. The paint is okay, but it's been keyed a few times. So, and then again, as I show the top, you can kind of see that it's really lost its clear coat, and the paint is being damaged at this point, and some of the molding is kind of coming off. So, yeah, that's probably the most immediate thing. So, we're thinking we'll just take it down to MAACO and get one of those, maybe the middle choice on the painting, so probably $700 paint job or something. We'll have to see. I think it's got like a 3-year warranty. Spare is always underneath, and I think I used to keep a lock on that, so there may still be a lock in there somewhere. So that was always good. I never really had to change a tire with this car. And then at some point I decided to take it out and show off what it looks like inside. I thought I'd take it for a little drive, kind of show off a little bit. So I'd like to hear from you folks what you think would be a good thing to do with this car. What color should I paint it? Should I just restore it to its original factory color, New Zealand green pearl, or should I choose a more exciting color? I'm just curious, see what people think. It is tan interior. No rips in the seats. Everything's been really well constructed. Very, very, very good car. Never had a breakdown. I think the only one major service at like 70,000 miles. I had to update the timing chain, or the timing chain was either time or something. So we just had everything changed at that time, and made in Japan, which is a kind of a third-party place. And they did a great job, and I had them change the water pump at the same time since they were in there, and it's run great for, I guess we're now up to 85,000 miles. It's run great. All we do is we change the oil every 3,000 miles, and I think we've changed the transmission fluid about 20,000 miles ago or so, which most people say don't do that, but I thought I'd take a chance just to prolong the life of the transmission if possible. Just have to make sure when you do that you have someone who knows what they're doing, because if they use the wrong transmission fluid, it becomes a problem, which it did in this case, because we went to a local place that didn't really know what they were doing, and they kind of put the wrong fluid in. So we took it back, and they had to take it all apart again and fix it. So I think we had 2 or 3 visits back to them before they figured it out. But they were way over their head on that repair. So it's not a huge car inside. I'm a little over 6 foot tall, and my head is probably an inch to an inch and a half off of the ceiling of that car. I've never really bumped my head or anything, but it is quite close. It's a very comfortable driving vehicle, more comfortable than some of my Toyota cars. And the seating position is very good with this car, because you're a little bit above the pedals. You're not sitting even with them or at the same level. So it's pretty decent, and the foam in the seats has maintained its shape, and it's always been quite comfortable. So it adjusts very nicely. So I drove around the neighborhood a little bit just to see how much noise would come up from the motor. It's a very quiet running car, actually, for its age. There's a few creaks, and you can hear it's loose. I mean, it's fairly loose compared to a new car, which is very tight. But the car has very good brakes. They're good brakes for their age, but at the same time, this car, from the time it was new, because it's quite heavy, it's a ladder frame assembly, it's quite heavy. So the braking is probably the one thing that has never been great on this vehicle. Fuel economy has always been pretty decent. At one point I was pulling about a 3,500 pound boat, an 18-foot bayliner I used to pull, and this car was very capable to do that. No hesitation. Now, of course, it's not like a V8. This is just a V6. And the torque on this is just a little, I think it's 203 foot-pounds of torque or something like that. So it's not a big number. It's got a 4-speed automatic transmission. Let me see what it says for horsepower. Yeah, it's a 5,000 pound maximum towing capacity. So I may have been closer to the limit than I realized with that boat. It's interesting, it doesn't really show what the horsepower was of this vehicle. So I think it's somewhere around 190, something like that, 185, 190. I believe the 3.5 liter motor, which is the one that's larger than this one, it has 197 horsepower, so this would be a little bit less than that, since it's a 3.0 liter. It's very easy to drive. All my kids drive this car all the time. Actually, they drive around the neighborhood. It's fairly safe, as I was saying. You have good visibility when you're in the car. And I've taken it off-road before, and it does great off-road. It's very, how do you say it? I would just say it's fine. It doesn't bottom out or anything like that. I mean, but I never really push it to its limits either. Always kind of kept it. It's a four-wheel drive. And we've taken it to the snow a few times. It was great. So what I want to do is put some fog lamps in there, and I need to get the front grille fixed as well. So once we get the paint done, the grille fixed, and the fog lamps, probably replace the headlights as well, and then we'll pretty much have what I would say is close to new car in terms of how it looks and functions. And we probably have another major service coming up in a year or two. But this has been a car that we've only used for local trips because it's never broken down, but at the same time, when these cars get to a certain age, you get less, you're less convinced that they won't break down on you. But we use it all the time. This is we call this the dog car. We've been taking the dogs in this car, so it's sort of our oldest car. It's our oldest car, and we've been and still maintaining. We have blankets in there and stuff, so we don't let the dogs trash the car. And they get used to it, so they know how to jump up into the car and to find their seat and all that. So yeah, the car's quite easy to drive. It's fairly quiet. Haven't had any problems with it, so we've been very lucky with this car. Or maybe it's not luck. I'm still convinced that these cars that are made in Japan are the ones to buy. Even if you go to buy a Japanese car or a Toyota or something that's made in the United States, try to look a little harder and see if you can find one that's made in Japan. And I think the quality there is probably a little better, although they're not going to advertise that fact. But that's probably just my suspicion. Unfounded suspicion. But I've had good luck buying the cars that are built in Japan. So yeah, probably for a total of about $1,200 or so, I can get this car looking almost brand new, and then probably for a little bit more for some normal maintenance and repairs. Let's say maybe $1,500. This car would be very close to a new car in terms of me wanting to drive it anywhere or drive it off road. I have a lot of confidence in it. So and if I got a teardrop trailer or something small, this car could handle it. This car could probably pull probably a 17-foot micro mini Winnebago trailer or something like that. Something that weighs about 4,000 pounds. I wouldn't want to push it and try to drag something around that's right at the limit of 5,000 pounds. But if you can get, some buffer of about 1,000 pounds, I feel very confident this car on level ground would be fine. I'm not sure how it would do with hills, but that's probably one where you have to get a run at it or something. But yeah, we've always taken care of our vehicles. We've always tried to make sure that we didn't abuse them, that we did the normal maintenance, that we most of the car's life, even though it now is 20 years old, I think probably the first 15 years or so, or at least the first 13 years or so, was garaged, and so it really had a good look to it. And then I would say the last 7 years of being outdoors in the Sacramento area, the very harsh heat in the summers, and fairly cold in the winter, and some hailstorms. But I mean, it's not like it was sitting in snow, but it's still, the environment outside here is quite a bit harsher than, say, in the Bay Area, San Jose, California. That was a much milder climate. So I guess I'll wrap up, but if you find this interesting, let me know. Let me know what you suggest for a color. I am just curious to see what people think. Should I restore it to its original factory color, or should I pick another Montero Sport color? Or should I pick something like an old Land Cruiser color or something like that, just to make it a little more interesting and make it unique? So I'm just curious to see what people think. Let me know, and I guess I'll see you online, and hit subscribe if you like this. Thanks a lot.